For years, all we were hearing people say is that they wanted open concept floor plans, that they wanted to see everything on their main floor, that they wanted everyone to be together. They wanted open, open, open. Then COVID happened. Here we are. Some things have changed. We're going to talk through all that today. I'm Danielle Waldera, a local realtor here in Harford County, Maryland, and today we're going to unpack, do you want the open floor plan still, or do you need a little bit of separation from your people? Open floor plans are still popular. There's just like a happy middle. So I'm going to use new construction as an example because I feel like that's the best example of what buyers want today because it's what builders are building today, right? Builders are now building the main floors with still open concept. Open kitchen, open dining, open living. Those areas, I feel like buyers still want to be cooking in the kitchen, seeing their family, watching TV, having togetherness. Where you're seeing a little more separation is in the upper level and the lower level. Some of that is because of multi-generational living, which has become very popular. So in the lower level, people need separated bedrooms, separated living areas, sometimes separate kitchens. In the upstairs, people want their own bathrooms. So people want privacy. They want to spend time together on the main floor and eat dinner and watch a show, but then they want to retire to their sanctuary, their bedroom, and have their own shower and their own bed and their own room and their own little space, or retire downstairs to their own space. I think it's normal in human nature to want a little bit of separation, even from the people that you love most. So they're still needing that, especially in the world of the people who are still working from home or the industries who have historically always worked from home. That especially needs separation. People's requirements and expectations of working from home are still very high. They're still expected to produce on a high level. They're still expected to attend calls where there's not a lot of background noise or kids screaming or dogs barking. So to have a completely separate office space is really coveted. A lot of people went back to work. Not everyone went back to work in the office, and some people are only working in the office a few days a week. Designated office space with a bathroom, with proximity to the kitchen where they can heat up their coffee. All of that is really important. The biggest trend with how people are using their living spaces is that they want togetherness, but we'll call it limited togetherness. So they want to be together, they want to have dinner together as a family, they want to watch their show together, but that has limits, and they want their personal space, and they want to be able to retire to a personal space where they do not have to be bothered. They can have some alone time, they can read their book or finish their homework or do whatever it is they need to do in their space that they feel comfortable in, away from the chaos. If you're working from home, you will likely want not only a designated office space, but a designated office space with windows. I find that that's very coveted. People don't want to work in a cave. They want to work in a light and a bright situation, especially if you're taking Zoom or video calls during your workday. You want people to be able to see you. Proximity to a restroom, a bathroom in your house, proximity to the kitchen, or some sort of setup where they can heat up their lunch, heat up their coffee, and not have to travel through 3 floors of their home to do that. Because what happens, I speak from my own personal experience, when you have to travel through 3 floors of your house to do something simple like heat up coffee, you've now passed your laundry and this other thing that you needed to do and this other room that needed to be vacuumed, and you're now completely distracted and doing 10 other things just when all you wanted to do was heat up your coffee. don't see a lot of buyers who are really wanting a formal eating space. In fact, I asked the question when we tour houses. I am a dining room eater, but I always ask the question, are you a table eater or are you a sofa eater? And I will tell you, a lot of people are sofa eaters. A lot of people are like, I don't need a table at all anywhere in this house. I want to eat on my sofa. It'd be nice to have like a kitchen bar, like, right, or like a little island, and I'm cool with that. That's like elevated dining. But we eating on the sofa, whatever floats your boat. When we tour homes with my buyers, I feel like the most oohs and ahs I get are in the kitchens and in the primary bedrooms. So these are areas where I feel like buyers want the most value, where they want the most renovations. They want them to be the spaces that are upkept and upgraded the best. If they have to, replace the flooring in the living room, older worn carpet, typically people are fine with that. But if they've got to do an entire kitchen reno, that's a lot. That's a lot to pay for. That's a lot to be able to afford. Some people are only comfortable DIYing so far. And people are spending more time in their bedrooms. I watch TV in my bedroom at night for way longer than I should. So guilty. Bedrooms used to be for sleep. You sleep, you get up, you leave the bedroom. Now people are getting dressed, doing get ready with me videos, spending a lot of time getting ready, taking baths, organizing. They're doing things in their bedrooms that aren't just I sleep, I get up. I have clients who work in their bedrooms and they prefer it. They want to work in their bedroom because that's where they're comfortable, and they put a desk up against the corner, and they're like, no, I like working in here. Again, whatever floats your boat, man. Before you add or remove a wall, please call me, because you can undo it, but it's really difficult to undo that. Taking a wall down or putting a wall up is not inexpensive. I would not advise you do it yourself on anything, because you're gonna bust that wall open and there's gonna be something in it. Wires, ductwork, something that you weren't expecting. Now you're gonna have to handle it and hire a professional. I would not advise that you take down or put up any walls without at least getting someone else's opinion, mine, your family, your people, your friends. What do you think? I had a client ask me if they should put up a wall. You walked into their house and you were in an open living room. It was a small house, like a rancher. And then you would walk back to a kitchen and a hallway in the bedrooms. And they wanted to create more of a separation between people coming into the house and entering into the kitchen. So they wanted to almost build a hallway area, so that if you were in the living room, you would have more privacy for people coming in and out of the door. I didn't feel super stoked about that. And I was like, once you put this wall up, you're gonna create a divide that you can't undo. So they asked for my opinion, and I said, why don't you put a half wall up and you can slot it? Almost like the old spindles that you see in older houses, but a cool modern version. A cool modern, not the spindles on a half wall, but a slotted real wood, something that creates division, but you can still see through it. Anyways, they loved the idea, and I think they did it, and it looked great. So before you go changing too much in your house again, please, for the love of all things, call me. Mostly because I probably know you really well after spending a couple of months with you looking at every house that you hated, loved, and everything in between. And I really recommend living in a space for at least 1 whole year before making any massive changes. So before you go changing, really renovating anything, live in that house for a year, because I can guarantee you after 1 year, you're gonna feel very differently about the kitchen, the tile, the colors than you did when you moved in. And a lot of people when we're touring homes are like, oh, immediately, I'm changing this, I'm ripping this out, I'm doing this. And I'm like, okay, go get them, Tiger. But also, if you hold on for 1 year, you might put that money elsewhere into your house that might serve you better and create a better functioning house for you that might be more important to you in the long run. Paint, flooring, and lighting, I think, is always a place to focus on. And I say drop money, but you don't have to drop a lot of money in those areas. You can DIY a lot of that stuff. You are more capable than you think you are. YouTube is your friend. You can rip up flooring. You can probably replace flooring. You can paint. If there's a light there, you can replace it with a different light. You can do a lot more than you're capable of, and paint, flooring, and lighting can transform an entire house. Large-scale renovations, when you're dealing with walls, electrical, plumbing, please don't DIY those. Hire someone. I have great references for you. Hire a licensed someone who has worked with someone you know before, not your neighbor who does side work. It's not worth the expense. Please trust me, it is not worth the expense. It is not worth a cheap contractor coming in to do work on something so pivotal like your kitchen and taking walls down, a place where you spend every single day. A client was renovating her house, and she was basically kind of giving her house to her daughter, and she was going to move into a granny pod in the backyard. So they were renovating her house for her daughter. She hired some friends of friends that she knew to do some major renovations on her house. I don't think it was 60 days later, that house lit on fire, and they had to redo everything because they didn't hire the right people and they didn't make the right decisions. And that is not worth it. So take your time. I have references. Interview several people who are going to do big scale changes on your home. Don't feel like just because your neighbor said that their uncle does it that you're just going to hire him. Interview people. Get several quotes. Make an informed and educated decision before you go making any large scale renovations. If you were to make one design change to improve your home's functionality in resale, I'm going to talk about a local change. And I say local because here in Maryland, we have basements, typically. Not every state has homes with basements. Some states have very few basements. Our basements are typically underground, spaces where moisture can be a problem, spaces where we get a little mildew. If you're going to drop money, people love a clean, healthy, feeling, smelling, finished basement. Do the water mitigation, do that down there, do the French drains, drywall it up, make it look really nice. Make your basement a really beautiful, usable, healthy, and safe space. And in Maryland, you will see a lot of bang to your buck in that. Thanks for watching. I'm Danielle Waldera, a local realtor here in Harford County, Maryland. If you liked what you heard and saw today, please like, subscribe, comment to my channel, and stay tuned for the next video.